Papua New Guinea and welcome to this episode of Sports Scene. Look, it's been a long 3 months of no sporting action due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In fact, the sporting scene here in the country was the first to halt all activities as the government worked up a response to the COVID-19 pandemic that affected lives worldwide. Thankfully, we're starting to see some of our favorite sports and competitions, such as that of the NRL, make some noise again, while observing the new normal, and the country's biggest competitions, such as the National Soccer League, has already marked down August for resumption. And the new normal is something we should all be observing moving forward. Now, Bradley, 3 months of no sporting action at all to cover.
Talk about it. It's been a long while, like you've mentioned.
Yeah.
It's good to be back, though, and soon enough we should see some sport in action back on the fields.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to see what they have in store. Of course, most of their lineup, the calendar for this year will have to shift, accommodating the very short time they will have to put in place all the big plans for this year.
Nevertheless, people are looking forward to it.
Oh, yes, absolutely. In the lineup, we feature athletes in training during lockdown and the SOE, PNG RFL AGM outcome, and athletes calling for justice for dual code representative Debbie Kaore. Now, before we get too far ahead, let's check out the scoreline this week. Of course, NRL is back and the results have been mixed. Bulldogs beating Dragons 22-2, Titans 28-23 against the Tigers, Knights 34-18 against Raiders, Sharks 26-16 against Cowboys, and Eels beating Seagulls 19-16. Storms outdid Rabbitohs 22-8. Panthers beating Warriors 26-0, and Roosters rocking the boat, beating Broncos 59-0.
Papua New Guinean athletes in country and those overseas, including sporting bodies alike, have called for justice for Rugby Sevens rep and 2015 Pacific Games boxing gold medalist Debbie Kaore, who was brutally attacked last week in a domestic dispute. A warning for our viewers: the next video you're about to watch contains graphic images.
As well. Now, looking for the first try. Is this the moment for Papua New Guinea? Stretching the legs. Kaore, the captain. The captain, Kaore, leading the charge. Papua New Guinea get their first try in Sydney.
The incident, captured on a video that went viral on social media, shows Debbie being headbutted twice before a hot electric clothes iron was smashed across her face twice. The mother, who had just given birth to a newborn baby, can be heard pleading for a partner to stop.
Please stop! You put the iron away! Stop it! You have to! Hurry!
Debbie sustained cuts and burns to her thigh, neck and face and has gotten medical attention, and a formal complaint has been laid against partner and perpetrator Mari Owa, who is a lieutenant in the PNG Defence Force. Owa has since been arrested and posted bail at the cost of 1,200 kina on Tuesday afternoon. In the meantime, Papua New Guinean athletes have taken to social media condemning the attack and calling for justice for their fellow athlete.
There is no right way to say this, and people who commit violence against women should be thrown in jail. Now, this is a message to Prime Minister James Marape, one of our sisters has been beaten, cut up, made to look like she doesn't matter. And we can do something about it. But Prime Minister, you need to throw this man in jail and make an example of him. Show some real leadership, because this is not okay.
no women or child or even man should be going through this sort of violence. And we should be doing more as a community. We should be doing more as men, and our leaders should be doing more. So this is a call out to our Prime Minister and our leaders that we need to stop this, especially from our armed forces, our army, our police. They should be our protectors, and they should be looking after our people, especially our women and children.
And to think of someone like Debbie, who is a role model, who a lot of little girls look up to in Papua New Guinea, and who is a great ambassador for the Grassroots program and organisation, who represents and spreads awareness about domestic violence against women, being bashed up like that. Like, what makes it okay for a man to think that he can just lay his hands on someone he claims to love? And why are we in 2020 still talking about this? Why is the PNG government not doing anything about it? Like, I have seen and read so many stories about women dying because of domestic violence, beaten to death by their husbands, and nothing's done about it. Like, enough is enough. Domestic violence is not okay. I just can't believe we're in 2020 and still discussing this. If you're a male watching this right now, go and talk to your sons, go and talk to your little brothers, set a good example for them, because it starts with us. Domestic violence, it ends with me. Like, I am here and I'll vouch for it, and I do not want it to be happening right under my nose.
The PNG Rugby Union and the PNG Olympics Committee have also slammed this attack, including all other acts of violence. For viewers, if you find yourself in need of support, you can call the Talk Counselling Helpline on 7150800 to receive counselling for family and sexual violence. Or you can call the Mary Safe hotline on 7222-1234. It's a 24-hour transport for survivors to the police or a safe house. Or you can also call Boroko Police Station and the FSVU, the National Sexual Violence Unit, national office there. And you can call that number on 7152-7622. You can always call the other number 7350-9130 or 7066-4880. Or you can call 7152-7644.
Dini, nobody for that matter should be, harassed in a country like us, Papua New Guinea. And many of them, of course, our athletes have been, going against, speaking against violence within families, domestic violence, of course, and violence against women.
And a lot of them have been faces or ambassadors of the messaging of, saying no to violence against women and girls and human beings in general. It's not only violence against women, but everyone.
Very true there. It's unfortunate for Debbie, and we wish her well in her recovery. Be sure to stick around. We check out some of the backyard training during the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown after the break.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching Sports Scene. Now, training and maintaining form during the last 2 months hasn't been easy for athletes during this COVID-19 pandemic. Sporting venues, which included facilities utilized by most of these athletes, was in fact the first to close their doors just before the government put in place the 2 weeks of lockdown following an imported case of COVID-19. 400-meter national record holder, Pacific Games champion, and 2012 Olympian, now turned coach, Nelson Stone took it upon himself to do something about it. A former athlete who boasts a colorful track record in athletics, Nelson Stone's passion for the sport saw him turn to coaching as he hung up his runners and called it a career, passing up the opportunity to appear at the 2019 Pacific Games in Samoa. It wasn't a year of coaching yet, and the COVID-19 pandemic struck the world, leaving athletes Nelson took under his wing without a venue to pursue their training regimes. In fact, sports venues were closed off by the PNG Sports Foundation in efforts to mitigate the risks of COVID-19, limiting athletes to little or no sporting and training activities at all. By the end of March, amidst the country's lockdown, Nelson refused to let athletes in the likes of Pacific Games silver medalist Daniel Baul and Eldon Totti, along with two other female athletes, lose form, turning his own yard at Tokarara here in Port Moresby into a training ground.
Due to the SO restrictions, we are taking 10 to 11 at one session. But since I believe everything is starting to loosen up a bit, so the numbers are starting to increase, but we'll try to keep a fair bit of distance.
The regime ranges from gym sessions to endurance training that involves road runs as well. By the time Nelson opened his yard to athletes for training, the lockdown itself posed some more challenges for both the coach and his athletes.
Yeah, that is really, really challenging, due to the SOE restrictions. We had transport that were, seized, and it was really tough getting the athletes to move back and forth, but we really did manage. We had made a lot of sacrifices to move the athletes back and forth here. And I'm just hoping the sacrifice will pay off. But yeah, it's been really tough, but we managed to get through it.
For me, as for myself, the stadium was locked down and couldn't have a place to train, and got called from my coach Nelson Stone and called to come here, and we started off with gym session and we kept running, and yeah, I feel good. Looking forward for this year's competition and stuff.
The challenges was it's locked down, so you have to look for a place to keep yourself fit, and I just make use of that time in the house to just come outside and do a little bit of workout around the house or do road runs. Wasn't allowed to go outside do the road runs too because they were so I'll just do it in the house. There was a big boundary, there's a hill, and I just kept doing it inside. And then the coach told us about his gym, and then we came. It's just privileged to be training under really someone I was looking forward to. Looking as a role model.
They were originally targeting the Melanesian Championships this year, but with the cancellation of all international competitions for this season, they have turned their attention to maintaining a good level of fitness, so they will be ready when competitions resume, with both Daniel Baul and Eldon Totti eyeing better results.
This year and late last year, we were looking forward to the Melanesian Championships in Fiji, but obviously the virus thing came on, and everything just went spiraling down. But we're still keeping our hopes high, and definitely the national championships will be coming soon in September, and I'm pretty sure the Melanesian championships will come on board this year again, and it's going to be an exciting one for us.
Yeah, the nationals, which will be held here this month, and the Melanesian Fiji. I'm looking forward for especially the event I'm looking forward for, the long jump and the high jump. We went down to Samoa and we had this injury. My left foot landed on both the weights on my left foot and didn't make it, so I'm trying to look forward for a comeback this year, 2020.
Some of the immediate events that I'm looking forward to, I think it's the 400 flat and the 400 hurdles. Yeah, I'm really looking forward for these two events. I'm looking forward to it because the last PNG games I ran really a really good timing, and yeah, for the both events, and I got like silver in the, I think both the 400 flat and the 400 hurdles. So I'm working towards the two events right now. But like I'm just looking forward for this lockdown to be like over, so get over with.
In the meantime, Athletics PNG President Tony Green says that the 2020-2021 calendar was updated and the revised version will be circulated soon. And while events may go as scheduled, the number of events may be reduced. For now, training continues for these athletes under Coach Stone.
I'll just continue with what I did, since the first lockdown. But I'll keep my ears open for how things are with the extension, which is the 14 days. But hopefully, I keep the athletes together. But it's going to be tough. But I'll just keep my ears open for what happens next year.
Look, it's great that Coach Nelson Stone has taken it upon himself to create space for these athletes, create this space for athletes to actually stay in training and keep their form. For most of these athletes, well, any athlete, it's very important to stay in form all throughout, even while they're out of competition or preparing towards an event. It's very important that they stay in form all the time, because this just helps them with their performances when they actually take to competitions.
True, it's been a very difficult time, especially for these athletes, and we feel for them during the lockdown, because many of them don't have access to most of this stuff where Nelson Stone gave them during this time. So a backyard initiative, but it was also good to see many of our athletes, of course, as you said, maintain their form during this time.
And the fact that he actually hung up his boots and took up coaching just last year, passing up the opportunity to go to the Pacific Games. These athletes, these boys that are now training with him, including the two girls, were actually the first lot of athletes that he took in, and he's been mentoring them. So to him, it would be a waste of all the hard work he's done, training them and all that. So he decided, well, why don't you use my backyard and keep yourself going with the training. So he's been utilizing the Tokarara area as well, doing road runs and all that. So they've improvised, and they're doing well so far. So that's really good to see.
True. Speaking of improvising, CJ Amini, of course, from our cricket team, the PNG Barramandis, also did some of his workout videos and posted it online to help others who were back at home during the lockdown and also the extended SOE. So it's great to see athletes come out and do something special, something extra to help other Papua New Guineans as well. Eugene
Aka as well from Touch Rugby, the captain to the 2019 Pacific Games that won gold medal. He was putting out some videos as well. So those are some. They've been putting out push-up challenges as well, something to keep them going at this time. Dikatoa has also, she was in isolation, returning from Newcastle. She was in isolation, so she passed the time by keeping herself fit as well. So that's really good. For now, we do wish all these athletes all the best. We'll take a breather here, and we'll be back with more.
Welcome back. You're watching Sportsing. To the country's #1 sport, Rugby League, the Rugby League administration through the PNG Rugby Football League have re-elected incumbent Sandy Saka as chairman. This follows a secret ballot vote at the 7th annual general meeting that saw the two-time chairman see that he continues through to the 3rd. In a meeting attended by 42 affiliated representatives, 4 confederate directors that make up the regional offices were also elected. Chairman Saka spoke post-AGM of what is to come as the code embraces the new normal, as well as prepare the national teams for the Rugby League World Cup next year. The Rugby League community of administrators have spoken to the ballot, restoring for the 3rd consecutive time Sandy Saka as chairman.
I'm actually humbled by the vote of confidence from the affiliates. It's the 3rd time they've made me chairman. The first time was unopposed. The second time was unopposed. This time around, I had Brown Murima who challenged me, and I want to commend him for good challenges put up. But more so, I'm humbled by the confidence the affiliates have shown.
His election marks the start of a challenging era in Rugby League, one that's guided by protocols of the global virus that's taken over the world. The absence of competitions has allowed the administration to do some thinking and readjustments.
We have a competition structure, but we need to restructure them to bring in best governance practices, international best practice. Part of that is getting some level of independence around the Digital Cup, getting some level of independence around the hunters, boards, giving them a bit more autonomy so that they can function a bit more as business units so that they can become a bit more sustainable going forward. And then strengthening the governance structures around the number of probably stakeholders that get a voice at the AGM. Currently we are in a situation where only one segment of the Rugby League family gets to elect the office bearers, chairman and directors. The women are not involved, the schools are not involved. You look at the business community that invests a lot of money, they're not involved in the process, the government's not involved. So we need to look at an inclusive governance structure that has all the important stakeholders in the game having a say in the governance and how the PNG RFL is run going into the future.
Looking forward though, there are positives as the PNG RFL looks to see some Rugby League before the World Cup next year.
The threat of COVID-19 will always be here, we realize that, and we're excited that we're the first sport to realize the threat and actually develop the protocols around that on living around the new normal. So the protocols, we've reached out to the Digital Cup yesterday, we're reaching out to the leagues today so that even if the SOE was lifted, we want the leagues to take responsibility for these protocols, and that's a new way we got to, as a sport, we have to show that we consider the public health considerations and going forward. While the football bit is difficult, it's provided us opportunity to work on the governance and administration, but we're trying to get some football up leading up to the World Cup.
While the game on the international front remains the focus for the international body, local leagues are not forgotten.
We have a 6-tier governance, a 6-tier competition structure that deals from the juniors, from the under-6 to the 12, all the way up to the elite programs and the unders and combos. The structure is in place. It's just, I think, the issues have been with a decentralized confederate system. While we've decentralized the functions, the confederate systems in the 4 confederates, what used to be the 4 regions, we've given them a bit of greater autonomy so that they can govern and manage themselves. I think the deficiency has been at that level, whether it's been because of the people that have been there or because it has been of resource constraints. I think that's something we need to address going forward, and AGM, all the presidents raised it, the lack of they're not feeling the impact that's happening at the top, at the bottom. There's a bottleneck somewhere in the translation of the benefit streams that are happening, and all of us come to realize that it's part of the problem is the confederate structure, and that's obviously something that we will be reaching for. That's part of the reasons that at the close of the AGM I made a commitment to visit all the 4 confederates in the next 4 weeks so that we can talk to them, identify the issues. The issues in NGI are unique. They're not the same as the NG issues in Southern or Highlands. So we'll sit down with them, identify what the problems are, and hopefully chart the way forward for the next 3 years so that we can improve on some of the concerns they've raised.
The country's semi-professional league will kick off in July, with Saka optimistic of seeing some footy at the affiliate league level. That's up for discussion until further notice.
Before we go, checking out the weekend preview. NRL Round 5 this weekend will see Seagulls versus Broncos tonight, Warriors versus Cowboys tomorrow, including Eels versus Panthers, and Rabbitohs will meet Titans on Saturday, Storms versus Knights as well on Saturday. Raiders will be taking on Tigers on Saturday as well, and Bulldogs will be meeting Roosters on Sunday, while Sharks and Dragons will meet as well.
Yeah, this is where we wrap up things. Please do join us or get in touch with us if you have a story or tip and would like to participate on our show in any way. Also, for your sporting bodies, teams or athletes, you can reach out to us as well and share your lockdown and SOE experiences, Timmy.
You can do that by emailing us on sports@emtv.com.pg or message us on our Sports in Facebook page and leave your contact details so we can get in touch with you, or call us on 312-9200. But if you're in Port Moresby, stop by at Garden City Level 2 MTV office and ask for any one of us that's here in Boroko. This has been another episode of Sports In. Do join us again, same time, same place next week. I'm Dino Osraiko.
And I'm Bradley Valenaki.
Good night.
Coming up next week.